Welcome to the main event. Welcome back. Season 1, episode 14, Cockroach of the show. I'm Jamie Jones. And we are here to talk about the things that we thought about this week and continue to think about. And one of the most interesting things I heard about this week was in Japan. It appears that butt breathing, this technique could help people with lung conditions. Yes, butt breathing. Think an enema. Now, listen, this is serious scientific medical
You were
news. I
so
don't know
funny.
what the problem is. Japanese and U.S. researchers have developed a groundbreaking treatment for people who can't breathe through their lungs by delivering oxygen where the sun doesn't shine. They had the first clinical human
Wow.
trial where they took 27 people in, and they basically, it was like one of them old enemas with the bottle and the tube, and they pumped liquid into them in the enema just to see how it actually works. They got the idea from turtles and sea cucumbers and dragonfly nymphs and even pigs can absorb oxygen in similar ways where their lungs aren't up to the task. So this may save a lot of people's lives. This may save a lot of people. So there wasn't, like, they haven't done the whole liquid within, they haven't oxygenated the liquid yet. But the first, they just wanted to pump them with liquid to see that it works. Supposedly the oxygen will go through the liquid in through your stomach lining, through into your bloodstream, and do the same thing it would do if you were breathing. That's what the premise is. And so far, according to Dr. Takibi, he says that it works. So this could be good, because during COVID, what had happened was, of course, pandemic, many patients died because they didn't have access to a ventilator. So this could help solve that problem. So it's called enteric breathing, and this could serve as an important alternative oxygen delivery route. So you fart for a reason. That air is coming out. That air can go in too. That air can go in too.
Amazing, though.
Well, we often look to nature
science.
for ways.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking about this week.
Oh, well, my thoughts aren't as exciting as yours. Not even the thoughts. The news. I spoke to you about it the other day. About the little girl Mimi. That her mother and her mother's boyfriend and the aunt are being charged with murder. Basically, they treated this 11-year-old little girl like a captive in the corner of the house, in Ziploc baggies, and come to find out that she was starved to death. But in the meanwhile, right? Meanwhile, DCF FaceTimes the mother because she's under investigation. And a year after Mimi was already dead, the mother had the other little sister, her daughter, come and act like she was Mimi. And the state just said, okay, and let it go. So there was so much foul play, not foul play. There was so much, not enough investigation on this little girl being in a system, and the whole family being in DCF. And how do you just let this child's life just
terrible,
turn a blind eye to what's going on?
It doesn't need to be said, but it's terrible. It's horrendous that people treat, let alone people, that way. But then you get the children defenseless, have no clue, and then they grow up thinking that that's the way it's supposed to be, if they even get the chance to grow up.
Yeah, it's just
horrific.
But
way to bring this podcast up to a very positive light there.
You know what, though? You know how I am, but the thoughts of how. So okay, and we'll leave this. I just want one more question on this. It's the mother. it's the boyfriend and the
Well, what's
sister.
the question? What's the question?
So for a guy, this isn't, I think this wasn't his kid, but they had two kids together. How do you watch the mother of your children abuse a child and then want to love her for your own children?
Can't answer that question. That's they need to be sitting down. If anybody cares at this point about them, they need to be sitting down in front of a professional, not me. But I could probably go back in the history of their lives and probably find some answers. That's the
Like even again, even for her, like if he was the one that was doing those things to her child, and I guess he participated in it. I'm not 100% sure. But just being there and witnessing the abuse from the little girl, how do you just not either secretly report her, you
right.
know, all those things? This child died in the hands of these adults, and it's just very, very disturbing to me. Where do you
Allegedly.
get
Again, allegedly, they have their chance in
allegedly?
court. Allegedly, but that's what the story is right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Okay,
hard. I
but
mean, it's very tragic. Very tragic.
yeah, it is. And I'm sorry to bring the
You know, hey,
topics.
this is what we do. We talk about the things we
Yeah.
talk about. That was something you were thinking about. What I'm thinking about is why is everybody tripping over Trump? You know, I actually try not to talk about him that much through the show, but I can't help it. He's like the Cowboys. He's like the Dallas Cowboys of the sports talk world. You're going to talk about him regardless. They ain't been to the Super Bowl in over 30 years, but you're still going to talk about them because they create content. Donald Trump creates content, good, bad, and different. Most people think it's bad, but I have to say, I don't know what the uproar is about the White House. I get it's the East Wing, there's history, but the White House is old. I mean, the White House goes through periods of shambles. I mean, Truman probably even had a bigger renovation. He basically had to come in and they built for like 4 years. I think they just had to tear out the underpinnings and the infrastructure of the home and rebuild it back up. People would come to the White House and think it was like, whatever they are. What's the castle name in the UK where the king and the queen stay? I forgot what it's called, but people go there and say, "Oh, it's a shithole," for being it's supposed to be a
I,
palace. So
I
I get
was
it, but here's the
there,
thing. Here's the thing. Buckingham Palace, right? So
Buckingham.
here's
But I
the
was like, I
thing,
was there.
right? So here's the thing. It's like I have no problem with upgrading a a building, a historic building, to bring it into its grandeur as it should be. Now, you can say what you want to say about the person who's doing it, and the plans. Yes, it morphs the White House, but the White House was built what 200 years ago or something like that, or even more than that. So yeah, I mean, we weren't as big. We didn't have as much. We didn't have as much to do. We shouldn't have to set up temporary structures to host state dinners or have events and things like that. So in that sense, and I'm not paying for it. You're not paying for it. Now, one of the companies you might own in stock or use every day is paying for it. Matter of fact, they are. But if he was able to raise $300 million to build this, and we're not paying for it, and it's a tax deduction for these cats, what do I care if they're building us a great place for our elected official and their families to be? And we don't even know what the whole building's going to hold. We know it's going to be a big ballroom, and I'm sure it'll be in
Hmm.
his. I don't want to say his likeness, but his style. But at the same time, that doesn't mean like they're talking about he's tearing down the movie theater. Well, maybe he's building a new one. He's tearing down,
Right.
or maybe there's a new one. I mean, some of the stuff he says is just like when he paved over the garden, and he was like, "Well, the problem was that women had problems walking on the grass with their heels. Now, y'all know y'all complain about walking on cobble and grass and dirt with your heels."
Yes.
He was like, okay, I mean, let's
Right.
go ahead and change it. This is where we have all the pressures. And I thought it was a valid answer. Now, I get it.
Melania was like,
This,
get this stuff fixed.
but my,
I'm
my
tired of
thing
my
is,
heels getting
why is
chewed up. And
everybody, it's like, why is everybody so enamored with what Jackie Kennedy did? I mean, that was 50, 60 years ago. Great. And it lasted that long. We get it.
yeah.
And that's their prerogative to change it. And my thing is, no. But now I don't know about the whole arc of celebrating the 250 years of the country that he's building this kind of French arc that's over there in Paris, and I don't know about that. However, we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure that people had the same things when we put up the Washington Monument or the Jefferson Memorial, or heck, when we got the daggone Statue of Liberty from, uh, I believe we got that from France. And there's a whole history behind that. One day we'll
Hmm.
talk about it, how they had to change it, but that's a whole nother story we talked about. But no, I don't. And I think part of it is because a lot of people, not we, a lot of people just don't like Trump. Um, I, I could, I could not care any less about him as far as liking him. I care about what he's doing for the country, and that's up for debate how he's doing it. Which brings to another point, because it always does, about how how he's doing it, and it's getting a little scary out there, right? So, for instance, this ICE agent, Caucasian ICE agent, was pulled over because somebody saw this car going back and forth between a highway, straddling the middle line, driving erratically. So the cops go out and they pull this guy over, and it happens to be an ICE agent. The officer happens to be of color, and we don't know what his ethnicity is, but the guy's like, the ICE officer's like, are you Haitian? Yeah, I'm going to look you up when I get back. And he's like, that doesn't have anything to do with it. His partner's like, why are you asking this question? And they can have this on body cam. So I'm paraphrasing these things. And this ICE enforcement officer, which we really don't know what their background is, because they got bonuses to get there. They picked anybody who wants to come in. I don't know what all the criteria is, but obviously they've been having problems. So then the guy starts breaking down. He's talking about, oh, I just went through a divorce. Now he has his kids in the car, and he is seemingly DUI. So they get him back to the station. He blows twice the legal limit. He blows twice the legal limit. 42-year-old guy, kids, blows twice the legal limit, and was still talking about he's going to look up the officer and he's going to try to deport him. And it's like, dude, you got your priorities in the wrong place. And now he's trying to do
Yeah.
a PR campaign
And
to
then
make himself
driving
look
with
better.
his children in the car.
I mean, and you know what? He's no different than the
And
first
they,
story that you told. You're a bad parent.
I mean, that is like crazy. I'm hoping that they are pressing charges, endangering children. Like,
Yeah,
please.
all that,
Oh,
all that, doing
because
all that.
I was going to say, like,
And
that
look,
is
it doesn't.
insane.
Yeah, and it doesn't help, with all the stuff that's going on, that you get these rogue agents. And I'm sure, just like any first responder, just like any officer, anybody who's doing civic duty, 99.99% of them are great. And then you have the bad apples, and then the bad apples are the stories that you hear about. But this doesn't help when you're manhandling women in these protests, and you're treating people violently, and you're threatening people and all this. And look, I get it. We do need to protect our borders, and we do need to make sure when people come into the country, they need to be documented and they come in the right way, because there is an avenue to do it. However, I don't agree that you shoot them out of the water because
Yeah.
you think they got some drugs on there. I mean, now we're really, I mean, going after people. Okay, you could, even if you said it wasn't political, you have the power to do it to anybody you want to. Then it's, should you do it? And is that the really in the true um is that in the true spirit of what you're trying to get accomplished as a POTUS? Then yes, you're trying to accomplish having tighter borders, because it does have a deleterious effect on our whole economy and other things. And you're trying to rein in the undocumented. Does that matter? Yes, but it's nobody's really complaining about what he's trying to get done. The complaint is how you're trying to get
How
it
he,
done, and
yeah. How.
how it is being done such in an autocratic way, or such in a very, I hate to use the word dictator, but such in a strong arm king for no king's protest, mafioso way. These are all the adjectives that are being used. Now we clearly see he doesn't care. And
Does
you have
not.
to be like
He
that as a
actually
leader. You
loves
have to
it.
have that tunnel vision on what you're trying to accomplish. I think it's just the fervor that his people go with it, or the fact that we think that they're not very either qualified, or they're just following what he says. Or you can see how the power, how, what do you call it, how the power map works, because even people before who would stand up to any political person who was like just out there for far out there, whether they were far out there on the right or far too far out there on the left. Now they don't even do that on the right, but now they don't really even do that on the left because, quite frankly, there's a lot of things that Trump is just doing out in public that Democrats were doing for years behind the scenes. So is it that he's just brazen with it and we're like, oh my God, when in the essence, I'm not going to say that Biden did everything he did, but they did some things that other presidents did too, including the ones that we
I,
like the most.
this might be silly to even say, but I think what the issue is, and I know that this is what a lot of people must think. So everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has a way of saying, you know what, this is what I believe, and this is what you believe, right? It's not about us agreeing. It's important for us to understand why. And I think that the way that Trump is doing the things that he's doing, do we all understand why he's doing it the way that he's doing it?
Yeah, he tells you. You just don't like what he says. Why? We just don't agree with the why. So it's really, it's not the I don't believe it's the why. It's the why doesn't it fall within the norms that we're used to of our elected
Okay.
officials? That's what we're asking ourselves because it falls in the norms of people we wouldn't elect or people that are acting like that used to be Mussolini's or the Hitlers or the Genghis Khan, call it what you want. I mean, those are the names that people were using. I'm not going that far. I will say that he is outwardly, and I think this is the
Yes.
thing, he's outwardly testing the limits of the Constitution and the power of the office right in front of your face, unabashedly. And he's
Yes.
like, all right, tell me I'm wrong. Now, if he was, the funny thing is, I think if he was more charismatic and more smooth about it, we may
Yeah.
look at it a different way because, quite frankly, some of the things he's doing are effective. We just don't like the way they feel, right?
Right.
It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like shaming. It's like you can encourage somebody to do something, you can shame them into doing it, you can browbeat them into doing it. You're not going to probably feel
Right.
good about the last two, but you'll feel good about the first one. But at the end of the day, is it still a good thing that got done? Yeah, but then
Right.
we feel dirty after we do it, or we don't feel good
Mm-hmm.
about after we do it. So it's just like I say when he's like dealing. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's dealing with the Saudis a lot and their human rights, record." And I'm like, "Well, they can say the same thing about us if they go back into our history too.
Right.
You can't be standing too proud on the human rights mountain with some of the things that we've done to get to where we've gotten to. Now, we should be able to leave those behind, but that doesn't mean we forget about them, and that's not part of our story. And maybe we can, maybe the discussion is, yeah, we know exactly what that is. That's why we know it's bad, and we don't want anybody else to do it because we've been there,
Right.
and we've learned from that mistake. And then, but see, when I said, people in power weren't pushing back on him, it's starting to happen. Like one of his billionaire buddies,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is one of the things I'm like, whoa, now you're feeling yourself on this one when he pardoned the Champagne, if I'm saying his name right, Champagne Zhao, the creator of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. So
Yes.
he pleads
Mm-hmm.
guilty. Zhao pleads guilty in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go to court or go to trial. He pleads guilty, like, yeah, I'm guilty to
Mm-hmm.
violating U.S. money laundering rules.
Mm-hmm.
He's out because Trump pardoned him.
Yeah. Pardon him. I know I
So he
read
was
that.
the founder of Binance, and Trump let him out. And guess what Trump's family was doing last week? They were over somewhere across the ocean, um, putting in a big transaction that made them $5 billion in about a
Mm-hmm.
couple hours with cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
That I mean, that's what I'm talking about as far as brash. Now maybe they don't have anything to do with each other, but
Yeah.
you're damn sure not making us think it doesn't have anything to do with each
Right.
other because you're like,
Right.
yeah, you're
But
damn sure not making us think it,
come
right?
on.
It's like, come on, give us. Then again, that's why people say they like him because they say, well, you know what? He says what's on his mind. He says what we think, but that's not ours because what's happening now is other things are starting to pop up. Like there was an article in the paper that now the KKK is out in some areas trying to recruit people during Halloween. And of course, during Halloween, they could do that because they could be like, well, I'm just in a costume. Man, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that's a good choice of costume, but I'm just in a costume. But all these things are starting to pop up. And we all know what happened in Virginia back when he was running the first time. And some of the things he said about, hey, everybody's here. It was great people. But it's like, well, they can't be because is it great to be racist? So
Right.
it's amazing but there's so much content that he puts out. It's almost like blinding because then you become numb to it. And that's what the article was about all these things happening, including that KKK recruitment during Halloween. And it's like, yeah, you don't want to become numb to it. You still want to show up for history. So you're there to be able to say, hey, somebody's got to say this is wrong. And we
Yes.
have to fight against this because this is not, at least this is not what I can't believe it's what the majority of Americans want. And I don't believe this is what the majority of Americans who voted for Trump wanted him to do when he got in office. So if he would have laid this plan out, I think they would have thought differently about, well, okay, well, why do you need to build a $300 million ballroom? You're here now, you can do it. Why do you need to throw all this the fear of God into everybody about tariffs and the market ups and downs and if you're playing a big negotiating game, great. I hope it works out for us, right? But again, as I said, I think it's a lot has to do with not the why and not the result, but how we got to the result. And if it works, it's still gonna make us feel good.
Right.
So that's the thing. But the whole thing about Zal and pardoning him so close to the transaction that his family had, to me, is
Yeah,
just like,
that's just
yeah,
too.
dude,
So is
you're
it just a
just
coincidence,
you don't care
or he
about
just
how
doesn't
people think.
get he? I'll give
He
a you know
he gets it. He gets it.
he gets it,
Um,
but he doesn't care.
right.
He doesn't
And
care.
and another thing, but then they care about NBA players playing poker games, high stakes poker games. I get the gambling point. Like I think that you have to have your integrity of each sports league, and but let's be serious. This will not be this is not the first. This will not be the last gambling controversy that we have, especially since we've opened the floodgates to gambling for professional sports, which I think we should have. But then we're going to have to manage it like anything else. But I think it'll be interesting to see the other names come out. And if they were really going after the mafia and they got the mafia, well, I just don't see the significance with the NBA names that were released unless they're trying to squeeze people and get them to talk. And when the federal government usually comes after you. And I say usually because we're talking about today versus the history. When they usually come after you, they're like, I think they win 88 or 89% of their cases. Some people are out there saying, oh, they win 90 something. It's like, no, they don't. But 88 is a damn good percentage. If you're going to court, you
Yeah.
want to know, hey, dude's going to win 88% of the time. You got a 12% chance of winning. So you better be damn sure you didn't do it or we need your
Right.
plea. Right.
Right.
And I've had friends who have been ensnared in federal investigations and ones that came out on the good side, but I've had ones that came out on the plea side. And usually, at least in their situation, it's not just that they have stuff on you. They have stuff on you that may not matter or may not really be about the investigation, but it would be so bad if it came out when it was public. It embarrasses your family, your career, your reputation. And you're like, okay. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's
daddy.
crazy
Yo,
though.
Jay, I will plea because
That's
I don't want any of this to
crazy.
come out. And it
Right.
happens all the time. They did it to my friends, and I
I
remember
remember you
they
told me.
say they took me through that, and I was like, whoa. And yeah, and I wouldn't want the stuff to come out either. So it's kind of like you protect your family and your reputation, and you're thinking, think about that. You're protecting your family and your reputation, and you're about to go to jail for a
Right.
federal crime. But they still got stuff on you, even if the problem is you don't know what they have on you. They just kind of give you a hint, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll come out with this." And you're like, "Well, wait a minute, that might not even all be true, but they have some ilk of truth in them that you're like, yeah, I think I'll settle."
Yeah.
Which would be interesting to see what happens in this case because everybody says they're innocent at the beginning. We have to believe that, and then they'll go
Right.
through the case. But the problem is they just got so many resources that you don't have. They got 18,000 lawyers. You got one law firm.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be an avalanche of an avalanche that you'll have to go against. But people win all the time against the federal government. That they just win all the time, 12% of the time, 12% of the time.
12% of the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
You don't hear about the 12% of the time that much.
right. Well, that's a hard place to be in, but I don't want to have anything to do with it. I know people that have. So,
So there was also this interesting thing that came out because the gentleman, and there's the government shutdown that's going on. And by the way, that's another thing, right? Like the government shutdown is terrible. People not getting
horrible.
paid. I mean, get to the point where I think the SNAP has already said, look, get what you need to get out of these stores because we're not probably not going to be able to pay you next week. But this is not the longest shutdown that there's been. There's been longer shutdowns. We're getting there. I think the longest shutdown was like 34, 35 days. The longest government shutdown was that long. So we're not there yet. But it's interesting that of course, part of that, and a lot of that, are government workers have lost their jobs at the CDC, and they're starting to
Yes.
lose their job. And then RFK, of course, is
Hmm.
in the lead for this. And RFK is all about healthy and food and all that stuff. But I just found out this week that RFK used to be a little drug runner back in the day. RFK at Harvard. I was like, all right, at Harvard, you would go to RFK to get some weed at
That's
Harvard.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
They got people talking about, yeah, he used to be our weed guy. And they were telling this story about how he used to, and they would get cocaine and they would get weed. And he had this
So he was selling
favorite,
both of them?
yeah, and
Uh,
he had this favorite cocaine straw that he used to like to sniff out of, and he left it at the person's place one time and like came back and got it and was like, yo, I need my weed, I need my cocaine straw back. I need my cocaine straw back. And I'm just reading the story going, oh, okay, all right. I mean, he should know. I mean, he he had yeah, he had a
wow.
special cocaine straw, but it turned out it was RFK's. He thought it was somebody else's. It was ended up being RFK's cocaine straws, but because it believed he had explained to him that it had crystals growing inside of the straw from, I guess, the mix of moisture, mucus, yuck, and the cocaine. So supposedly, somehow the repeated use of the mucus and the cocaine building up made it something that was very precious to our leader to our general. What is he? He's a leader of our what is it? What is he leading?
Uh, the
I want to get the
health,
organization right.
what
He's
it's
our
the,
health czar at the end of the day, right? He's our health
right.
czar at the end of the day.
Yes.
But yeah, he was a local weed guy, like they used to be back in the day when I was in school. There was always a local weed guy in the dorm that you could go past back in the day when, a dime bag was a true dime bag and a nickel bag was a true nickel bag. For those of you who don't know, and you could get a dime bag, that means you got 10 joints for $10. And
Wow.
you could sample the weed before you bought the weed. You can't do that now. Well, now you don't have to do it in most states because it's legalized, and weed costs way more than it did back in the day on the black market. And Kennedy admits now. Let's not get it twisted. It's not like he's hiding from this. Kennedy admits he was a heroin addict for 14 years, probably for much longer. People think he was on other things. So he is the American story.
Yeah.
Not that he came from rags to riches, because he was riches to rags back to riches, and part of a quote unquote the closest you could probably get to an anarchy family in the United States, the Kennedys. And there's many stories about how they came to power as well. That's another podcast for another day. Probably people have already done, but it's just interesting the characters, and I mean truly characters that he has appointed to positions or hired to positions, and what they're doing.
I'm lost for words. I'm
that
lost
was
for
a
words.
that was a pregnant pause. I get it. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like this makes it. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, if there's anything, that's probably the perfect way to look at it. There a lot of things do just bring you pause. But what I said, I think I mentioned this the other day, and it couldn't have been better. Like this could not be better for George Clooney. that the Louvre got robbed like a week after he announced that they were going to do
Yeah.
Ocean's 14. Now he's saying, yeah, we need to use that as the plot. Or maybe that's in the
Yes.
movie somewhere where they can
Yeah.
CG me. He was like, yeah, they can CG me, eye me in to the lift that was there. And I mean, like, how? So my thing is, how long were these cats staking this place out to find out that the cameras were pointing at that specific area and they could use the lift to get in and get out? But as of this morning, they have actually arrested 2 people. I do know that.
Wow.
They've
Really?
arrested 2 suspects. Yes, they have. They've arrested 2 suspects.
Mm.
That doesn't mean anything. Those are just
No.
suspects. But I'm like, that was brazen. But
Yes.
they must have known that was going to happen. But they have arrested 2 people,
Like you
and that was
said, it's all on the television, right?
it's all. And look, it's all on the television. But truth is always stranger than fiction. So you can think about it. It's probably already happened. We see it happening live to us. But what did they were like? What are they going to do with the jewels? It's not like you could just go to the
Right.
pawn shop,
And get some money.
on the Disney Channel, go to pawnbrokers and then sell it there. It's like there must be some rich people that are getting it, of course, for pennies on the dollar because they're not going to pay as much as it's actually worth. And then what do? Put it in your private vault and say, "Hey, come over and see my Louvre stolen jewels," and don't tell anybody. Um, I got to imagine all those jewels have been laser etched and secretly somehow marked, so if somebody finds it, they look at it and they go, "Oh, this came from the Louvre. I don't want to touch this." Or if this comes from the Louvre and they catch me, then it's over. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that black market. I don't know where they go
Yeah.
to deep dark web to find each other. I'm sure there is a market because I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
I'm
many
sure.
stolen things out there that are sitting in people's houses and we don't know or we do know. But yeah, they were talking to a guy who's like this famous um jewel thief. And he was like, yeah, he was proud of them, but he wasn't. He was like, yeah, they're not going to get away with it. But he was telling his story about how you do get away with it, like how he got away with some of his. It's like there's like all these negotiations, like you're talking to all these different people and they're talking back up to you and you're negotiating. And what he said is you could actually be the person that stole the jewels, that negotiates back the jewels back to the museum, and you get paid for it as part of the deal so you don't get arrested. But then you don't get arrested. You know how to get the jewels back. Nobody goes to jail. And then the museum ends up paying you because you got the fee for finding the jewels when you were part of the
Robbery.
process that stole the jewels.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's that's pretty good.
Crazy.
That's how it's happened. All these things that we don't know about because we're upstanding tax-paying citizens and we don't go to all those measures, but then we hear about them. So it's is it a suspect or or I think it's a suspect got arrested. I don't know how many. First I read 2. Now I'm hearing maybe 1, but we'll find out. So the other thing that happened in the news today, I forgot about this place. And I used to go there a lot back in the day. It's a famous Mexican restaurant that I think they haven't been around for like 20 years, even though I didn't know that. I thought that they were still around, but I didn't know they were out. Do you
What's the
know
name
who
of
they
it?
are? Well, that's why I'm not saying the name so you can guess who the name is. It's a fan favorite restaurant that's opening back up for the first time in 20 years.
And it's no, I have no idea.
And the reason why I didn't think they were closed is because you can still buy their stuff in the store. Chi-Chi's. Chi-Chi's.
Jeez.
Chi-Chi's.
I remember
Chi-Chi's
being a
is
little
coming back.
girl and wanting the fried ice cream. That's all I wanted was the fried ice cream because I couldn't understand. I only saw the commercial. And then when I got it, I was like, oh, it's not what I expected it was going to be. Do you remember the fried
Chi-Chi's.
ice cream?
Well, no, I didn't remember fried ice cream.
It
I
was on
wasn't a
the
fried ice cream
commercial.
person. Well, see, you knew Chi-Chi's better than me. No, I did not.
I
I did
remember
not.
the
Look,
commercial.
I thought Chi Chi's was still there because you could walk down the season aisle and get yourself some Chi Chi's taco season and stuff like that. So I wasn't thinking the Chi Chi's wasn't somewhere. I didn't know they were closed since the 90s. I mean, what, since the 2000s, they've been closed
Wow, that's
for 20
crazy.
years. But Chi Chi's
That's
is
crazy.
coming back. I don't know how, obviously, there must be some happy people out there, not just me. Because what? Because it was Chi. So what's the other Mexican restaurants that are out there? But Chi-Chi's definitely
Chi-Chi's.
was a good restaurant back in the day, but shoot, you know, restaurants have it tough. They've always had it tough, but it is like
Yeah.
a bloodbath out there for restaurants to be able to stay up and running. One of the shows that we're watching right now is about getting a Michelin star restaurant up and running, and of course, Gordon Ramsay is the executive producer. He does say, look, he does some good TV. And this is
He does.
yeah, this is very good TV. It's called Knife Edge, Chasing
Yeah, it's
Michelin
so good.
Stars. And they go through with these restaurants in different cities and just the pressure packed environment of it, the pressure that these people put on themselves, how important. I didn't realize how important and how much business one Michelin star, then two Michelin star, then three Michelin stars brings. Heck, I didn't even know you got a two versus a one or a three versus a two based on your the techniques you use and how sophisticated they are. I didn't even know you could lose your star.
I was just going to say that. We found that out. Yeah. That you can lose your star.
You got to
Just like
keep
you
your
gained it,
star.
you got to
But
keep it.
yeah, but that's wild.
That's
That's like saying
crazy.
you. That's like saying, hey, I know you won the Super Bowl last year, but that doesn't count if you don't win it again this year. It's like, wait, what's up? I gotta
Exactly.
win it every year for you to consider me
Yes.
to. So I'll be a former. And you can't say because now, so you can say you're a former Super Bowl champion, right, or former NBA champion. People go, "Oh, great, your team must have been really good back then." But that's not going to make
Right.
people not come see you. If you say, "Well,
Exactly.
yeah, we used to have a Michelin star,"
It's
you're gonna be like,
so
you're
true.
gonna be like, "Well, what happened? what did you
Right.
do? Why
They
aren't you
lowered
at
their
the same
standards.
level?"
They
Right,
lowered
and
their standards.
that's funny. And then trying to get to that second one, and like the dude we saw in, oh, where was it? I forgot. I think it was Chicago. Was it Chicago? He had one, and they were trying to get two, or was it New York? I forget which one. And he was pissed that they didn't get. They kept her one, and he was just like,
Yeah.
"All right, we got one." He was like, they were
Where
trying to get
was
that
it? New
too.
York, New York or
No, it was
Chicago? I can't
Chicago. No, it
remember.
was Chicago. It was
Oh,
Chicago.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, he was
and
pissed.
that was fascinating. So the next one I
Yeah.
think is overseas. I think it might be even in Copenhagen. I want to say for some reason. We have to watch that one. But I know we're late to the party, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who watched this show that we just binged over the last week, I know we're late to the party, and I know I started because I'll start anywhere to show if I heard. And I don't know why I had heard about the Diplomat, but then
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
was like going crazy about this year, and I said, well, let me start watching this, and it held up to all of its
Yeah. Very good.
luster and hype. I'm telling you, Diplomat, if you're not
Very,
into it
very
yet,
good.
now I got to go back and watch season one or two. I'm like, one and two can't be as good as three.
I
The
know,
other
but you know
show,
what? I'm upset that we watched it on the third season. I
well,
wish
then
I
you
would have
should have
watched it
started
from
at
the
one or two.
beginning.
I'm the one who brought it to you. You
Jamie,
should be saying thank
you're
you.
the leader. I'm
You
the
should be
follower when you
saying
put the
thank
TV
you.
on.
You should be saying thank you,
Thank you,
Jamie, for
Jamie.
turning me
But
on to this. Now we'll go back and watch. But see,
yeah,
now
I
you got
understand.
expectations. Now you got expectations of I don't know
Right.
how season one and two went. So we're
Right.
gonna
Because you
find out.
said
But
that
I
everybody
love to where
said
they
that this
started
season.
from. Oh yeah, people.
Mhm.
I mean, I was like, oh, season three's crazy. I'm like, well, why? And I always would see it, but never really paid attention to it, right? For whatever reason. But there was a gap in
Yeah.
time, right? Say like
Yeah.
Love Is Blind was done, Crazy Horses, was getting ready to come on. Abbott Elementary is not that good this year, and I'm sorry to say that. It hurts me to my heart for me to say they
Because
jumped the
that
shark
is
a
his
couple
number
times
one
already in the
show.
first three episodes, and I'm like, what? What's going on? What's going on with the writing? Are we
Yeah.
getting
I don't think
are we
last
getting
night
too
was that
fat and
bad.
happy? You can't run out of things to write about in an elementary school. I mean, you can't. There's
Don't
too many. There's too
I
much.
no
There's too
no
much.
no 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 no. I don't think they're really running out. I think their acting is more like so dramatic and it's not, it doesn't seem natural anymore. It's
Right. it really seemed like they had a little office vibe going on with the camera in the background, because there's always the third eye
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
background with the
Yeah.
camera, like they're filming the documentary. It's almost like that's gone away in a sense, and
Mhm.
it's
I
more of
agree.
a sitcom kind of thing instead of kind of like a third eye there, like really watching them, like almost scripted reality in a
Yes.
sense.
Yes.
But
I do.
yeah,
I think that that's missing.
I'm hoping that it's coming back. I hope that they'll get back to that. I don't know if that's the same feeling for people. Y'all can let us know. But that
Yeah.
to me was very disappointing with those. And then so there was a place for another show to fit in this. When you just want to take a total mental mindless break and watch trash TV, there was a space in there. And
Yeah.
the Diplomat is where the Jackal and House of Cards
Oh,
were for
damn.
me at this point. All right.
Yeah.
And that's the other
Me
thing,
too.
Jackal. I can't wait for the Jackal to come in. They
My
better not
God, I
mess up and not
cannot
come out.
wait for the
They better not mess up
Jackal.
and not come out with a season 2 Jackal. Because where they left us, it's the same place that Diplomat left us on the last show of season 3. And Diplomat is the same place the Jackal left us as far
Another
as
show for you that they
suspense.
left us. Serpent Queen. They left
Mm.
us high and dry.
Serpent Queen, yeah, but Serpent Queen was right up there with the White Queen and the Spanish
Ugh,
Queen
so
and they're
good.
not doing another one. But that was on
Yeah,
Stars. And you know how Stars
I
is.
know.
Stars,
But Jamie, that
but
was
nobody else
good.
picked it up. But nobody I like that show.
That's
I
crazy.
like
That
that
was so
show,
good.
and that's too bad. Yeah, they had a good run. But again, they did do like 4 different series, like the White Queen, the Spanish Queen, and there was another one, and then there was that one. So they played that period piece out for a
Yes,
long
they
time.
did.
But it was good. It was good acting. And I say, okay, why does it seem like, for one, why can British actors do better American accents than American actors can do British accents? That's what I want to know. And two, why do they have all the good actors? It's like, why does it seem like all the good actors, and you don't even know they're British until you catch them on a
And so
talk show or something. You're like, wait a minute,
exactly,
I didn't know
or an
dude was
interview.
from. I didn't know
Yeah,
I didn't know she was British. I thought she was one of us, and I
yeah,
should have known. I don't care if they're black, white, green, yellow.
yeah.
It's like they're all great
Very talented. Yeah,
actors, and you're like, I didn't
yeah.
know you were British.
Right.
I didn't know that. Now I do. But there's
Yeah,
I don't. They're just like putting them out like left and right. I don't know what that is.
yeah.
I don't know why
And
that's
you know
happening.
what? The
Somebody
one
please
guy
tell me.
that was on, he has a British accent. Young black man. He played on oh, Snowfall, and now he's playing in Formula One.
Well, yeah, I don't know what his name is, but I know who
But
you're talking about. Young actor,
but
great
I
actor.
remember the first time I heard him like on an interview, I was like, oh shit, like because I didn't know he had a British accent
Yeah,
because I watched him in Snowfall.
Damson Idris. Damson Idris
Yes,
is the
yeah,
cat.
very very good actor. I
And
mean,
look, it's not a movie I wanted to go see. I was going to wait
Formula
for it to
One.
come on cable. It's coming on cable, I think, in December. So I want to see it, but I was not willing to pay for it because I was like, how good could a racing movie be? I mean, it's not going to be like Viva Las Vegas, like back in the day with Elvis, is it? Or is it going to be really good? Like I love Brad Pitt, so that was a plus.
It's good.
But
I think it's gonna be good.
I'll wait. And I know I'm
I
not going
think
to be
it's
able to
gonna
see
be
it on the
good.
IMAX, but I'll see it on my little 75-inch TV with surround sound. I'm sure it'll have the same impact.
Yeah.
Uh, I know the movies are making a comeback this year, and you were out of town. And I went to go see Superman.
Yes.
I was in the movie. There's only like 10 people in there and stuff. It was an early movie on purpose because I don't like to go to the movie theaters with a lot of people. I just want to go in there. I don't want to hear people talk. I don't want to hear people eat popcorn. I just want to do my thing. I'm not one of those people like, I got to go the first day and I want to see it and be squeezed in and everybody munching and talking. You got to tell somebody to be quiet, somebody's cell phones, all other stuff. But it's just like, it's a hassle. When I know all I got to do is wait a couple months and I can watch it in the comforts of home. It's almost how I feel about, it's kind of like it's kind of like being in this, it's kind of like going to a pro game, basketball, hockey, football, baseball, and you get to have a season when you're sitting in the skybox. Why do you want to go back down to the seats? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like watching a movie in your home with your own food, your own drinks, your own system. And look, okay, my screen is not as big as a basketball court, but in my room, I can make it big and I can make it sound. And it's just, I don't have to deal with anybody. I can stop and start. I can go to the bathroom and all these other little accoutrements that are there. Why do I want to go and get my feet stuck on the floor, sit in a lay back chair that somebody else has probably just sat in, and I don't know, you know, is it bed bugs? I don't know. Is there popcorn in between my seat?
You
Am I gonna put my hand down and it sticks to the armchair? And then I'm not drinking Pepsi and Coke and eating their popcorn with 10,000 milligrams of sodium and butter and all that other stuff. So really I'm just
you
going
know
there to
what?
see the movie on a big screen. So
No, I
so
think
I'm
I
not
think you look at I think you look at it differently than I would. Like to me, I'm like, okay, you might want to not want to spend the money, but to me, it's just like just getting
the
out and
money
doing
is
things. Yeah,
inconsequential. I mean, you're talking
I
about
know, but
I'm
but hold up. You're saying because you don't want to spend the money to go see it. So what I'm saying to you is like,
No, no, I didn't
for
say that. I didn't say money. I said I don't want to spend the time of going and then having to deal with all the variables in the environment when I know I can be in a controlled environment and really
seeing
get
that,
into the movie and
I
enjoy the movie.
understand. But
All
what I'm
right,
saying
so
is that like
it
some
has nothing to
people,
do with it has nothing to do
oh,
with money. That's what you said.
okay,
That was
okay,
incorrect. It has
my
nothing to
bad,
do with money.
my bad, my bad. I think that people go to the movies and they because they want the experience of all that. You don't. And
But
again,
what
and
is the
again, it's
experience? And that's what I'm asking is that
what
used to be it's not the
yes.
same like when I was 12 and I was going to the
Hmm.
movie and I wanted to see something, or it wasn't like even in your 20s or 30s when you're going to the movie to see James Bond, right? And you're
Right.
seeing that eye come out and he turns and he shoots and it turns red and the
Yes.
music, because now we have more sophisticated electronics where we could
Yes.
get the same experience. That
I agree
experience,
with you. I agree. I'm not
it is
disagreeing. I'm
cleaner,
saying that, but
nicer.
like for me, I'm like, yeah, I could. I've had if I could see a movie in at the comfort of my own home, I prefer to do that. What I'm saying to you
Okay.
is that there's other people that do not.
So
They want
now
to
it's just
be in
about
that
like I don't
environment.
want anybody to tell me about it before I see it. So that's the only reason I will go to the movies now. If it's something I really, really want to know, and I don't want to have to read
Right.
about it and read all the Easter
Right.
eggs and read all these other things about it because I don't want. I want to be in the know. Really, the only reason to go to the movies now is so you're in the know. That's
Right.
it.
Because you know
It
the
is.
moment is yeah, it's going to come out online and then you'd have to read about it.
Like I will go see Ocean's 14. I will go see the
Mhm.
next Batman movie. I will
Yes.
probably go see the next big Avengers movie if they do it the right way, with Doctor Doom. Um, but you liked Superman, which I was surprised because you're not into the whole superhero
Up
thing,
on Superman though. Super
and you liked Batman. You liked
I love
Batman, and you
Batman.
loved
I can watch
Dark
Batman all the
Knight, just
time.
like and you loved
Dark
Dark Knight,
Knight,
just like
love Dark Knight.
you
I
did.
love the
So you do
Penguin.
like you love Penguin. You
I
do
don't like
like
the
well
Avengers.
written. You know the from Avengers because you just can't get all the different nuances and
You
tributaries
know
off of the
what?
stories.
Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, did you go to that? No.
I loved
So
the
why didn't you go to
Fantastic
the
Four.
movie? Why did
Isn't
you?
there isn't hold on.
There's a
Is
new
this a
one. It
new
came
one?
out already. Yeah.
No,
So
no,
now you're
no.
gonna have
I'm
to
talking
wait
about
till it
like
comes
my
home.
first time watching the Fantastic Four.
I know, but they got a new one out. So what? You obviously you didn't like it
Oh,
that much because you didn't care about the new one. It just came out like 3 months
well,
ago, maybe
I'm
four
not
months
reading
ago.
up on the
But
superheroes.
then
That's not what I'm doing.
you really didn't like
I
it then.
did. I did because that was Jessica Alba was in that, right?
That wasn't the. I don't know if that was the first Fantastic Four, but it was one of the first ones. Yes.
Loved one that was like one of I loved that movie.
But I
Loved
get
it.
why people are. I mean, Superman is different. I mean, Superman is basically Jesus Christ, right? It's the story of Jesus Christ, basically. I
Mhm.
mean, if you break it down, that's what it is. Batman is the most. Batman is a lot like James Bond as far as being a detective or an investigator or stuff, and going out and doing things he shouldn't be doing. Although Batman does not kill, James Bond kills. Batman does not kill. That's what people have to remember. That's why criminals are always like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna do nothing. You might break my ankle or whatever, but you're not gonna kill me. So what are you gonna do to me, right? You're not gonna the ultimate consequence." However, that Superman movie I thought was entertaining. I thought it had more of a younger vibe. Like I liked Snyder's version of Superman. I liked his version of a more serious Superman, and I felt like, and the guy I felt like did a great job in the movie this time But yeah, I felt like that the Superman with the Ben Affleck Batman. I thought that was going someplace. But obviously the actors start get older and stuff. Like I thought, hey, I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he did a
And
great.
Batman,
Yeah, I thought he did
I thought he did
a
too.
great.
I thought he
I
did a
thought he
great
did a
job.
great job. I thought the story was good, but people were like hated us on Zack Snyder's vision of it. Um, but I mean, Christopher Nolan was one of the writers for that too, just like he was for Dark Knight. And I thought Henry Cavill did a great job. He looked like Superman. He was, you know, beautiful guy, a great looking guy, but the guy right now is too. I think the guy
Yeah,
right now did a very good job of what I did like about the story. I thought about kind of representing it in today's world. What I did like about the story is how they played on he didn't really know his full history because the parents' video wasn't complete
right.
and it's cut
Completed.
off before they
Right.
got to the like, yeah, you're supposed to go there and rule over everybody. But he
Right.
was actually undocumented. He
Yes.
was a
He was.
undocumented person in the world. So he was. I
Yes.
hate to use I hate to it, and I love what the guy in Chicago. I think it was the mayor of Chicago or one of the councilmen in Chicago said over the weekend because they were asking about illegal aliens. It's like they're not illegal aliens, and he said, "Yeah,
Right.
black people used to be called." And somebody was like, "Well, that's what we're calling them legal." And he was like, "Yeah, well, they used to call black people slaves too. Do we still want to refer to them as that? Although, of course, I know
Right.
what the analogies, far to the right, to the left, but at the same
Yeah.
time, undocumented people in the United States, undocumented immigrants in the United
Yes.
States, and Superman was the quintessential undocumented undocumented person in the
Exactly.
whole
Right.
world. But then
Mm-hmm.
all the things that he provides and how things are built. I mean, it's a story of you could say it's a story of the USA because the red, the white, and the blue
Right.
costume and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. And you could say it's very much biblical if you look at rising from the death and all this other stuff. But I just
Yep.
think it's interesting because those stories always come from us, but yet getting back to the movies, it is not the experience it used to be. And I know they're trying to make it. I have yet to be to one of those like where you sit down and you have a meal, like a dinner club. The
Oh
closest I've
yeah.
gotten to is the ones where you lay out on on the chair and you're flat like you're in a first class seat overseas. And you lie out flat and you watch the movie. And it's cool, as long as there's not a lot of people there. I just don't. I don't want to see. I
Yeah.
don't want to see a lot of people. I want to see a lot
Yeah.
of
And I
people.
like to have my blanket and I like to have my options at home. That's why I don't care for the movies. Don't care.
I'm
Don't care
sure
to
they'll
go.
start bringing out that too. They'll probably take the blankets that they took from the airlines that don't have them anymore, and they'll give them to the movie theater. It's hard to get a
That's not
blanket on the
heavy enough.
airline now. It's hard to get
It
a blanket. Remember
is.
the last time we were on the flight and the lady was like, "Can I get a
Well,
blanket?" And it was like, I
yeah.
think they only have them on night flights. And if you happen to get on a plane that's the first plane out in the morning where they left some there, you might be able to get a blanket. But it's hard to get a brother a blanket on a flight now. You got to get lucky.
Yeah, no, I remember that lady last time was just like, "Where's the blankets at?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
And so you know what they say that you should not drink on a plane. You should not drink coffee. You should not drink tea. Anything that's made from the water that comes from the plane, they're like, yeah, you need to pass up on that. These are the flight attendants saying that. Yeah, you need to pass up on that.
Read
Don't
that.
do it. Yeah, and you do that all the time. You drink coffee all the time on the plane. I never do. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
don't. And
have.
that wasn't
Yes, I
because,
have.
but I just was like, it can't be that good coffee. But now
Well,
they're like, yeah,
they have Starbucks on Delta and they have Lily on United.
it's not about the coffee. It's about the water that the coffee is made from.
I
It's not
understand
like
that. What you're saying, I know what you're saying because it's coming. I guess you're saying from the same sewer
you
line
should avoid drinking coffee because of the concerns
because
about the cleanliness of the water tanks and the potential to drink and cause
okay, I will
dehydration on
never
top of that.
drink the coffee again.
Hey, I'm not telling you what to do. All I'm
No,
saying is
I will never drink it
the
again.
funny thing is people are worried about the air on airplanes, which is infinitely more filtered and safe during COVID and that time people wear masks. I,
Yeah,
I would rather be in a plane when a bunch of people with COVID than be in an office building because that
yeah.
plane's
This
constant
is filter
filtration. But
frustration. Yep.
the water's a different story. Not
Thanks
wiping
for
down the table and the pocket behind the chair, that's a different story. You better bring your
Yeah.
wipes. You better bring your
Right.
wipes with you. And they admit it too, because they give you hand sanitizer now when you walk onto the plane and wipes.
Yeah.
They even
Yeah.
know.
They're like, wipe your stuff down. You know
But
you want to
it,
wipe it
but my
down.
thing is, if the flight attendants know that the water's not cleaned as much, why don't they do something about it?
Yeah. That's a good question.
I
It's
mean,
probably not
I'm
much they
if they
can do.
if it's that well known, then why don't we do something about it? And I guess that's the answer. That's what bottled water, I guess, is the answer. So that just tells you they don't make the coffee and the tea with bottled water.
They did they didn't.
But I mean, you would think if you know the water's bad, it's like when you go to Mexico,
Yeah.
don't drink the
Don't
water,
drink
then you don't
right.
drink the water. So when you get on the plane,
Then
why are
you
you
don't
going to
drink
make the
the
water out
ice.
of the coffee that you don't drink? And
Right.
then should you drink the ice that's in your drink? No, now you got to ask for a drink. If you think about it, you should be asking for a drink with no ice on a
Yeah.
plane.
There you go.
Mm.
No ice.
There's too many things to think about when I get on a plane. I just want my freebies and daggone it. If I catch something, then I catch something. I paid for it. So give it, give me all of that. Right.
Give me all of
So
it. Right.
yeah, give me all this. They said there's three things you should never. This is what flight attendants say. This isn't me. This is in Travel and Leisure. Travel and Leisure magazine, travelandleisure.com. Three things flight attendants say you should never eat or drink on a plane. We talked about the first. Coffee and tea is a no-no. Okay.
Okay. What's number 2?
All right. Ice, what I just said, I didn't even know, but ice is a
Well, I
no-no
figured
for the
yeah,
same
that's what I
reason,
said, just like
right?
in Mexico.
Ice is the same way. And they say, of course, maybe to protect your other cohorts on the plane, don't eat gas-inducing foods like broccoli and beans and stuff like that. Also, they say stay away from Bloody Marys. And scientifically, it's proven that a Bloody Mary tastes better in the sky due to the very high sodium content. I always avoid drinking. Now, this is what the flight attendant says. Due to the high sodium content, I always avoid drinking. But I guess there's some scientific proof that it does that. But then sodium, of course, is going to make you, well, yeah. And then you're going to have to rehydrate. So you're going to actually ask for more. So it's supposedly the study confirms that there's an environment of loud noise, our senses and taste are compromised. And this was specific to sweet and umami taste. I don't even know what umami means. What's umami mean? I'm going to tell you right now.
I have no
Umami
idea.
is a category of taste in food besides sweet, sour, salt, and bitter, corresponding to the flavor of glutamates, especially monosodium glutamates. I don't know what a glutamate is, and I don't know what a monosodium glutamate is. I'm assuming that's a salty glutamate, but because of the affinity for the taste, the multi-sensory properties of the environment where we consume our food can alter our perception of foods that we eat.
Mm,
Thank you, and I'm glad I was able to give all you that lesson today about why
right.
you should
That
not,
was very, very
do
interesting.
not do it. You get your sensors can't handle all the things that are going on in your environment, and it makes you think that that Bloody Mary tastes better than what it is, which means you're going to load up on sodium, get bloated, and then have to rehydrate. And
That's
guess what you're going to rehydrate with? That water you shouldn't be drinking, unless you're drinking it out of a bottle.
yeah, they're not giving you bottles. I remember asking for a water bottle. I can't remember what flight we were on last time. Can I have a water bottle? Oh, that's a lie. That was when I was doing the competition. I asked the lady for a large water bottle, and she was like, "No, she couldn't give it to me." But the flight would coming in, I got a large one. Did I ever share that story with you? No,
Yes, you did.
you did.
And I remember that.
Yeah.
And then see the interesting thing is now I was just, and then and because it was right next to this other article, I'm like, well, this is interesting. A professional chef shares one thing that he always flies with to make his airplane meals taste better. Guess what that is? Sea salt. I'm like, so you're gonna get on a plane and load up on say, yeah, sea salt makes everything taste better. It makes everything taste better on the ground too. But
Yes.
then you're gonna have to probably be thirsty. And then what are you gonna drink? You better drink something bottled that you're gonna bring with you. And then you're gonna have to go to the bathroom a lot. So then you're gonna have to expose yourself to even more bacteria and germs. Yeah. So it's interesting when you read these articles about people flying
Yeah,
and you
because
fly
now
a
it's just
lot.
like, oh, and you know me, I'm like, gotta use the bathroom again, gotta use the bathroom again because I'm on my
But
third glass of wine.
how about the people who get on the plane with sandals, but barefoot sandals, and then they take their shoes off and then they walk to the
To the
bathroom
bathroom.
in their bare feet? It happens.
No, that
It
when I
happens
see
all the
like
time.
hotels, when we're at a hotel, and I remember me and Jen, I forget we were, I think you, me, we were all, you guys were playing golf or something. Me and Jen went to the pool, and these women were walking to the public bathroom at the pool with no shoes on.
I mean, I would rather
That's
walk into a public
disgusting.
bathroom at the pool
It's disgusting.
than walk in a plane
Disgusting.
with my
I
bare feet.
listen, they're both disgusting. I'm
At least
sorry.
my feet came out of
Oof.
pneumonia. At least my feet came out of pneumonia pool. At least there's some protection. But
Oh,
you don't have anything in the airplane. But hey,
yep.
people do what they do. Maybe it builds up their
Disgusting.
immune system, and maybe they're good. Hey,
But
they're good. They get down like that.
who
But
raised you?
oh,
Who raised you?
now, let's not get
That's
personal.
disgusting.
Let's not get personal.
That's disgusting.
They're
I'm
still
sorry.
alive, so it's still good as long as they ain't putting their feet on my furniture or up on me. You got
No,
to do
I'm
what you
sorry.
got to
That's
do,
just
but I probably won't be
nasty.
asking to come over. That's the thing.
Ugh.
I probably won't
Yeah,
be
no,
asking to come over.
not
All right,
good.
final parting thoughts here today. What do you have for us, Monique?
Um, my final thoughts are that I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching us and supporting us. And we are sponsored by Fit and Trim Weight Loss Clinic in North Andover, Massachusetts. Phone number is 781-977-7546. If you want to start your weight loss journey, call Fit and Trim Weight Loss Clinic. That's all I
Oh,
have to
that
say.
was good. I would say, hey, look, you got to be prepared for the consequences of your actions. I love free speech, and I love what this country was built on. But everything has a consequence. You're not absolved of consequences when you do certain things. And I think that's what some people get confused of with free speech. You can say whatever you want. You should be able to listen to others as well. However, that doesn't mean things won't happen afterwards because of the consequences of what was said, just like the consequences of what were done. So I think we would understand each other much better as a country, as a people, as a global society, if we just kind of take a step back and go, all right, what are the consequences of these things that happen? And I'm sure, look, I'm sure those things are thought of, but in what perspective? And that perspective has a lot to do with how the consequences may come out. I'll just leave us with that. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the other side of the next episode. I'm Jamie Jones.
I'm Monique Jones.
See you next time.